Hi, I'm Syndia. For the past few weeks, I've been focusing on expressive, abstract, minimal landscapes. Today, in expressive landscape land, we're talking about color studies. One important thing for me would be to learn to work with a limited color palette. The reason for that is, especially within a series of painting, especially in abstract or expressive art, I feel like I get a sense of calm or unity when there's a more limited color palette. I love working with neutral colors, but also adding a few pops of color here and there and have the neutral tones with a few pops come together in a magical blend. That's my goal. And to get color stories and color inspiration, I have a few tricks. Very often, while watching TV on the couch, I use my sketchbook and colored pencil to create paint swatches. I always include neutral tones, usually black, white, and gray. And then I try mixing together different colors that speak to me. First of all, it's very calming to do that, just to create swatches in a sketchbook for fun. And it's also very inspiring because sometimes you discover color matches that you would not necessarily have thought of on the spot while painting. But when you try all these different possibilities in a sketchbook, things jump at you. Another way this could be done is to go to the hardware store and the paint section and take a bunch of those paint swatches with all the different shades of color possible. Then cut them up, mix and match all the different shades that speak to you. You can glue them in a sketchbook for future reference. That's another way to do it. And for color stories, you can also get inspired by the Pantone color of the year. They always have one every year. That could be your starting point. There's obviously interior design magazines that will have nice color stories as well. One other really cool tool, if you have zero inspiration for colors, would be to go to this website called Coolers, which is a random color generator. You can give it specific criteria if you want more of a pastel palette or like a more warm or cool tone, but you could also randomize it fully and bam, you get a starting point for inspiration. Those are a few tools that I use when I look for color studies and color inspiration. For this painting, I was very inspired by having a pop of neon color. So I chose the neutral black, white, gray with a blue and having a pop of neon highlighter yellow to see how it worked in my landscape. This landscape was created from imagination, as were all the other ones in the series. I can link you a video at the end if you're curious and you want to watch more of it. With this color study, I wanted to have a feeling of a quiet winter day. I felt like the white, the gray, the black, and the blue would really suit well that type of composition. I used ultramarine blue for the sky, keeping it very saturated at the top and fading it to a lot of white towards the horizon. I created some texture with acrylic paint and a palette knife, as well as using an oil paint stick, which I spoke about in another video. Then I added the neon highlighter yellow. The camera doesn't render it justice. In real life, it's so bright. It's blinding yellow, and I really like how it plays against the white and with the blue. It gives it a warmth that draws you in. Without it, everything felt a little bit more cold or distant, but I did have that quiet calm I was looking for. But with the yellow coming through, even if it doesn't necessarily make sense in real life, that wasn't the point. I feel like the yellow pulls you in a very interesting way, and it brightens but makes everything warmer and more inviting. I added just a little pop of orange at the forefront. Not sure if it needed it. I just did it very spontaneously. I feel like it works with or without it. But having worked on color swatches separately and having all these color stories in front of me to choose from, and when I settled in one specific color story, already I had ideas of what type of landscape it inspired me. It was really a starting point for inspiration, as well as me feeling more secure that the composition would kind of already work by itself just because my color story spoke to me from the beginning. When working in abstract, I feel like things could get overwhelming for me personally. If I have all the colors at my disposal, all the different textures and everything, it gets overwhelming. Working in a limited palette helps me have more inspiration. Seems like it would be the opposite. Having more choices would give you more inspiration, but for me, having less choices gives me direction and it sparks a bunch of ideas. If you love working in a more abstract way, it's something to think about. And if you want more painting tips and inspiration, you can watch this one next.